other thing you've been talking a lot about is the cheaper medicines bill.
Mm-hmm.
There's your version, there's the House version, there's a little to and fro between the Senate and the House. Our version is better than your version, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, what do you think are the prospects of passing a version of that bill that looks more like yours than theirs?
It's not a question of whether it's closer to my version, their version, or some other version. No? I think let's be mindful of the objective. The objective here is let's make medicines much more affordable while preserving quality. Right? So if that's the case, one route is through greater competition. Another route, complementary to that, is let's strengthen our domestic generics industry so that they can also be competitive. So we provide competition from the domestic side through the generics companies, and we also provide competition through importations, no, from other countries. Another route that the House seems to be looking at is price control. Well, let's take a look at that. There'll be hearings, and is it workable or not?
You know that's going to be a disaster, right?
Well, I mean, let's see. Let's see what the hearings.
That's me saying that, not
That's
you.
right. Let's see what the hearings are going to say. There are many that have said that price controls, in fact, does not lead to benefits. But let's establish it in the hearings. And I always retain an open mind. The objective is how do we bring down the price of medicines while retaining the quality. And for most people, Ricky, my advocacy here started when I saw my brother get sick, and he died of cancer, and I spent many hours in the hospital, in waiting rooms of doctors' offices and treatment centers and so on and so forth. And my classmates in the hospital, mga katabi mo doon, no, na lahat naman ay nagkakasakit din, ay their families, they're hanging on by their fingernails. Meron lang isang catastrophic illness sa pamilya. What was middle class is now poor class. They have to sell everything, they have to borrow, they have medicines, treatment, and so on and so forth. Talagang wipe out ka. No? And that should not be the case. Why should an Indian, why should a Thai, why should a Vietnamese, why should a Pakistani have access to these medicines much more affordable than a Filipino? What is it? The Thai government just said that not only with AIDS, but in fact with high blood pressure, it is a national emergency. High blood pressure, we are compulsorily licensing so that there will be greater competition, medicines for high blood pressure, so that the Thai people could avail of that.
And in fact, after initially threatening the Thai government that they'd pull out, they actually caved in. The drug companies caved in.
The point is their governments are doing something for them. By the way, that possibility that the Thais did was what we in fact negotiated in WTO Doha TRIPS, right? That's what except that their government has been able to convert it into real action while we are still trying to pass this legislation. When I was at DTI, and to the credit of the president, she continued it even after I left, we started to import medicines from India, in effect bringing in competition from India and trying to lower the cost of medicines here. We were sued by the pharmaceutical companies. I had suits when I was DTI secretary, and my successors likewise. And what we need to do now is amend our law so that we can conform it, and we can then avail of the flexibilities that are in WTO TRIPS that other governments have availed of and which we so richly deserve.
Okay, very briefly.